Hello, welcome to a small side video. I got a question asking how I did the texture, so I thought, hey, I might as well show. So I've worked a bit more on the second stage, added a little bit more. So we're gonna take this area and give it a new floor texture. That's kind of the goal of this thing. So first thing, open up basically any editing tool you want. It doesn't really matter. I only use this because of a thing I'm going to show you. But let's just create a new file. All the textures I have are 64 by 64. That's just an arbitrary limit I set on it. There's no reason to have it. It's just, I think I can do enough with 64 by 64. So that's kind of it. Okay, so now that we're in here, we're going to do something pretty simple. We're going to kind of say, okay, well, what background color do we want? I'm just going to disable this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to decide, okay, well, what background color do I want? And what I'm thinking is kind of a stone tile type deal. So we're gonna start with that. And I want it to be lighter, on the top. So I'm just gonna take the box tool and do the entire background. That's just easier. And stone tiles are pretty easy, this one at least, because I basically only need two shades. I need a slightly darker shade and one that's slightly darker than that. That's literally it. You just take that and you do a super small box and you literally just start making these kind of tiles. So it doesn't really matter how you do them, the pattern. I'm going to actually show you the reason why I use a sprite. And it's because if you go to view, go to tiled mode, and go to tiled in both axes, this will happen. And this is literally the reason why I use it, because now I can see how it will look when it loops around in the game. So if I make these, last changes, like something like that, perhaps. Looks pretty good, I would say. Now this isn't the end. We need to add a lot more than that. So the next stage is shading. This is why we needed 2 shades of gray. So what we want to do is we want to decide basically which side the light comes from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the light would be in the top left. So the top left for you guys. So the light comes down from here. So there should be shading on, these edges for it. So I'm just going to use, again, the box tool because I can just make it like this. That's literally it. And we just keep doing this for the entire thing. Okay, so now that we've done that, it still looks a bit flat. So what I like to do, it's totally not something you guys have to do, is I like to do selections on the tiles and basically draw some random kind of scratches and dinks with just the leftover colors. And then I used to use the jumble tool and kind of get them in there. So it looks like kind of dirty, stained in a way, and then I can do a final pass with like the brush in order to make it look really, oh, actually it looked better without it. So I'm just gonna keep it like this because it looks pretty good, I'd say. So basically we just do this with tiles, and the reason why I don't select all the way outside, because how the jumble tool works is it takes the tile next to it. So if we were to do it here, it would take this tile and kind of paint it here. So it doesn't look very good, I would say. Okay, now they have that, we need to decide on something. We need to decide if this looks good with the textures already in the game. So how do we do that? Well, the easiest thing to do is literally just save it and try it out. So here in Blender, I just open up the stage that I want to edit. And I go over to the section that I want. And here, basically what I do is I just select these parts. And I say that I want a new texture, or a new material, so to speak. So new material, and we're just going to call this wall 106. I'm gonna say that it's magenta. So there we go. Now it's ready for Unity. So if we go into Unity now, it should basically redo texture, yeah, so that it's the purple magenta color we wanted. And so what do we do now? Well, we can see the floor here. It's right there. We're just gonna set the settings so that it doesn't use the filters on it. It's literally 3 settings. It's just max size to 64 because it's the texture size we chose, compression to none, and filter mode to none. And that basically removes the anti-aliasing for it, which gives it that kind of very pixelated look. It's yeah. So now that we have that, we just basically select it, pull it on, and then undo. No, pull it on and then undo. The reason for that is now it has created a material for us, this one. So we just do smoothness to 0. And then we go into the models, the raw model. And in the level, we can see here in the materials that we actually have a wall 06 in here. So we just apply it. And there it is, it's in the game. So you can see that it is, in the game, but it doesn't have this heavy shadow that all my other textures do. And honestly, I think it's a bit too gray. I think the entire thing is a bit too gray. I need a bit more green, I'd say. So how do we do that? Well, literally, let's do one problem at a time. So let's tint it first. So how we do that is you just go to edit, click adjustments, and change the hue. That's it. And we just want to be a bit more green. So green is there. Let's say somewhere there. That looks pretty good. And so now we fixed that. Let's do the chunky shadows. Then how I do this is literally just open up the folder for the project. Now that we're in here with the textures and everything, we just find this, copy, paste, and that's it. We'll rename this to wall06 underscore normal. And for me, I also sort it into the normals folder. Now in here, we just open that up. You see it looks the same. And basically now what we need to do is we need to make it into kind of a, because how normals work is, for me, I use the grayscale one. So basically all we need to do is just have 2 colors and use box select. We literally just paint this. There are 2 ways to do this. If I wanted the kind of dense in the ground, I could do that. I'm probably going to change it to that. Oh, I can actually show that. So now we'll literally just pull this on here. And now we have that. So in Unity, we need to, of course, find that sprite. So in the normals, we can find it here. It looks like a normal image because it is. We just click the texture type, normal map, create from grayscale, and then we change the same settings. So max size 64, no compression, and it's point filtering. Apply. And now we have the actual normal map. I don't know why it looks like that. Ooh. So now in the materials, we can go into the wall 06, click the normal map, we search wall 06, find it, and you should already see how big of a difference it does. And now we can do several things with this. We can decrease how much it shows. And there's also in the actual normal map, we can go in here and change that as well. So that's kind of the main thing how I do it. And if we wanted to, in the normal map, we could easily add, you know, the other kind of speckles and dusts that we had on the actual texture. So how do we do that? Well, basically, another thing we could have done is just copy paste the entire thing, paste it in here again, so we have the default. So basically what we do is we're going to edit, adjustments, hue saturation, just do this. So now if we save this and go back in, you can see we now have the actual speckles in the height map. And if we increase the, like you can see, you can really see the kind of small little details in it. And I actually really like that. And so now if we take the player, so now if we check in the game, you can actually see, we can see the textures here. And I'd say they look pretty good. They match really well with the theme, and I don't think they clash too badly with this seam. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with this. And as it works, you know, we can see we have a little bit of artifacting there with how it loads them in, but that's something I can fix. But yeah, that's kind of it. So hope you learned something from this. I really enjoy this texture making process. I think it's really interesting with how the light falls on them. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching this little side video. The next devlog should be in the next coming days, I think. But thank you all for, thank you for the few comments that I've gotten, have been really positive, and it actually have made me want to work on this game a bit more. But for now, thank you, and thank you for watching this tutorial on how I make textures, and have a good day.